All right, so good people, as you can see, I didn't even clean up my background for this video because I wanted to get this video created while this was hot and heavy. And so I just saw this post on Facebook this morning, and obviously I was at work, so I couldn't do nothing with it. But now that I'm home, I wanted to read y'all this letter. This is a very serious letter, and we need to really listen to the voice of what's being said here because this is a voice of the young generation, and this can't wait any longer. I was going to try to make this for next Witness Wednesday, but I just couldn't see how I can hold this because I think it's hot off the presses. Like, this is a fresh caught fish here. I got to just get it out right now. So here's the post on Facebook. Anyway, so here is the letter from Mr. Isaiah. I'm going to read it to you and I'll explain it after. Okay. Dear Mrs. Jones, I am angry of you because you took 25 of my hummingbird books, all because I was talking to Connor. That's no big deal. I'm only 6. I can't be quiet all the time, and that makes you a thief. And that makes you a thief and a crook, and you are going to hell. You are going to hell. Real hell, the burning one. Okay. Because you're a thief. Okay. I worked hard for those bucks. And my only prayer in chapel today was that okay. Okay. My only prayer today in chapel was that God gets you to hell fast. Okay, I'm sorry. My only prayer in chapel today was that God gets you to hell fast, super fast. And your new haircut is bad. Real bad. Isaiah. Okay. So okay, so let's start from the top. Y'all good? I'm good. I'm good. Okay. Okay. All right. Dear Miss Jones. So he starts off very respectfully. He starts off with his heart in the right place. I can see it. But then it takes a turn for the worse. He says, I am angry of you. Now, I'm not angry at you. Angry at you would be here, right? Some people would say angry with you. That would be here, right? He is angry of you. That's up here. That's not even the same thing. It's in a whole different stratosphere. I'm angry of you because you took 25 of my hummingbird books. Now, he goes on to explain why she took 25 of his hummingbird books. And obviously, hummingbird books is like non-fungible tokens. It's like cryptocurrency. It's like gold and silver around these parts. Hummingbird bucks are hard to come by. And Lil Isaiah had a problem with Miss Jones taking his hummingbird bucks. And so the reason, and obviously Isaiah didn't like the reason. Isaiah said this is a crappy reason to take his hummingbird books for the fact that he was talking to Connor. He said, all because I was talking to Connor. So that leads me to believe, along with the very next line that says, that's no big deal, that Isaiah didn't see him talking to his buddy Connor as a reason for losing 25 hummingbird books. Maybe you could have took 10, maybe you could have took 15, but 25 is, there's no way you should take 25 hummingbird books from a kid for talking to his friend Connor. Like, especially if the kid's named Connor. Like, he could have been talking to Conor McGregor. Like, he's Connor, and any kid named Connor has a right to have a kid talk to him and not lose hummingbird books. All right. So then he says, I'm only 6. I can't be quiet all the time. That makes perfect sense to me, Miss Jones. Why didn't you get that, Miss Jones? Why didn't you understand that, Miss Jones? What kind of a circus are you trying to run here, Miss Jones, where a 6-year-old boy cannot talk to his friend without you taking 25 of his hummingbird books? Miss Jones, you got to answer to the court today, Miss Jones. We are not okay with you taking Isaiah's 25 hummingbird books. And not only that, we have more of a problem with the fact that he's spelling quiet like this. Q-Y-E-T. He spells quiet, Q-Y-E-T. You ain't doing something right in the first place, Miss Jones. I think the problem here is you, Miss Jones. Dear Miss Jones, give this young man back his hummingbird books. You don't need to talk to his mama. You don't need to talk to his daddy. You don't need to sit down with grandma and grandpa. You need to give him his 25 hummingbird books back because you obviously ain't doing your job, Miss Jones. Now, you don't know what him and Connor were talking about. Did you even ask what him and Connor was talking about? You know, they could have been making a business move. They could have been starting a venture. They could have been doing anything, and you just messed it up and took his hummingbird books, which he was going to use for the next currency. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Ms. Jones. What are we paying you for? What is our hard-earned tax dollars going in your pocket for? What are you doing, Ms. Jones? Or you're probably in a private school. Since he has chapel, you're probably in a private school. So then those people who are paying you those big private books are not paying you to take Lil Isaiah's 25 hummingbird books. You need to give it back to him. You ought to be ashamed. Furthermore, he says that makes you a thief. I before E, except after C, Lil Isaiah. Don't even worry about it. That's a small thing we can overlook that. You are a thief and a crook. Now, you can either be one or the other, but according to Isaiah, you are both, Miss Jones. You are both a thief and a crook. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Miss Jones. You took that boy 25 hummingbird books because he was talking to his friend. He's 6 years old. He can't be quiet all the time. Well, you want the boy not to say nothing? That's not even reasonable in a perfect world. I worked hard for those books. See? What this shows me is that if you read between the lines, this shows me that he gets those hummingbird bucks for being good, for doing his work, for staying out of trouble. And here you go for the one little thing he do, nailing them to the wall. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Miss Jones. Sounds like you're an oppressor to me. This is oppressive behavior coming from you, Miss Jones. Oh yeah, I'm getting woke on y'all today. This is oppressive behavior coming from a teacher to a 6-year-old. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. But not only are you oppressive to him, he's going to get you back because what he says is you're a thief and you're a crook. So then you're going to hell. The real hell. The burning one. So he's making it clear. Some people think that hell is the grave. He said, no, not that hell. Some people said this earth, this life is hell. He said, no, not that hell. Some people call jail hell. He said, no, not that hell. I'm talking about the real hell, the burning one, the one with fire and brimstone, the lake of fire. You going there. And not only that, he said today in chapel, his prayer to God was, you took his 25 hummingbird bucks and he wants your hind parts going to hell quick, fast, in a hurry with gasoline drawers on in a handbag. Now, he wants God to get you there quick. He said, You can't ride the bus to hell. He said you can't ride a bicycle to hell. He said you can't ride a car to hell. He wants you. He wants you to ride a first class private jet to hell. He wants to get you there quick. And finally, he wants to let you know, just in case hell isn't bad enough, just in case hell isn't a bad enough punishment, he wants to let you know that your haircut is horrible. He hates your hair. You know, it's probably something crazy anyway. A little bit in the front, hang out like this. He doesn't like it. Whatever it is, he don't like it. He hates your hair, Miss Jones. And finally, if that wasn't enough, he signed it, Isaiah. I want you to know I said these words. These came from the heart. This came from me. You going to hell. So, Miss Jones, all the Miss Jones out there, these oppressive Miss Jones that like to keep people down, like to keep 6-year-olds down, and like to take their 25 hummingbird bucks, you going to hell. I'm just saying. Isaiah said it first.